The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
The First Lady of New York Radio, Joan Hamburg. Entertaining and informative. Talk Radio 77 WABC.
One of my favorite people is visiting today, Tovah Feldshuh. She has won every award there is to win. Emmys, Tonys, doctorates, Outer Critics Circle, Theater World, you name it. She's on Broadway, where she belongs, doing a brilliant job in Funny Girl. I'm going to let her tell you about that. She does all kinds of good works for the world, has brought up incredible children, is still bringing up her husband, and doing all good things. Tovah, I'm so happy to have you visit. What a year you've had, more than a year. Fill me in on everything.
Well, I'm first of all filled with gratitude. I was filming last summer 2 independent films, one called Dirty Rhetoric, which we did in the Hamptons, which was wild and kind of like a Dali-esque surreal movie. I don't know what will happen with that, but it was fun. And then I played the grandmother of a non-binary child called A Girl Like Him, and we shot that in the Midwest. And in the middle of all this, they called me to do Funny Girl, to play Rosie Bryce as Leah Michelle's mother. And
had you seen it? Tovah, had you looked at it at all?
They actually called me, to be honest with you, in the early part of the summer before I did the films. And when I was already contracted to do the films and a concert, actually, of one of my one-woman shows. And I said, let me see the show. They said, would you be interested in playing Rosie Bryce? And I said, I wouldn't be uninterested. Please send me the script and let me see the show. And I saw the show a few times, twice with Beanie and Jane, and once with Julie Benko and Jane Lynch, and then once with Jane's understudy, the great Liz McCartney, who also is my understudy. And I said, gee, I could do something with this. And then I had the honor of working with Michael Mayer and Eleanor Scott, the choreographer, and Ayudeli, this brilliant tap dancing maestra, and of course the extraordinarily talented Leah Michelle, to recreate our contribution to Funny Girl. Michael Mayer held a very loose and loving hand with us, and we did not have to imitate anybody, any predecessor. And the show opens with our casting September 6th, and the box office just exploded. And we're still sold out. So it's been a thrilling 5 months, and I certainly have another good amount to go in my contract, and it's an honor to do it. Also, Thursday nights, which is Julie Benko's night, who is the standby for Leah, and she's quite brilliant herself. So the whole thing was a gift. It was a real gift to me, Joan. I'm very grateful.
I'm excited for you. And as the mother, you play her the way to me, she should be played. She's a Jewish mother. And there's something about Jewish mothers that are different no matter what. I mean, Italian mothers are close, but they're unique, right?
Well, sure. If you're doing it, there's a germ of, if you're optimistic, there's a germ of everybody in all of us. However, as they say, playing a Jewish mother kind of fell into the pocket of Tovah Feldshuh, for God's sake. Right. In the last 16 months, I have been the mother of Anne Hathaway, Oscar Isaac, Rachel Bloom, and Leah Michelle. You can't do better than that. So, in terms of, when I approached Rosie Bryce, I said, what is universal about her and what is specifically Jewish? She's tactile. She has tough love, and she has a huge, huge heart, and she's warm. Her temperature is warm. She's not Nordic. She's, she's probably has Eastern European roots. In fact, Rosia Bronick, who was the real name of Rosie Bryce, and in fact, Fanny Bronick and Fanny Bryce, she was from Hungary and didn't come to the United States till she was 10. So had I been in the original, which was played by Kay Medford and then a series of other Irish Catholic American actresses, I would have asked for a slight accent, but that was completely out of the question as we were taking
started.
Over. Right, that's right, a thing that had been started. And also, she was a saloon owner, and the writers, the incredible writers, when they wrote this, moved the story from Manhattan. Rosie Bryce had 4 saloons in Manhattan and had her children's clothes custom made. So that whole thing now moved to Brooklyn, went to the lower class, and they wrote their story as they thought it would be most effective. But one thing that was historically accurate is that Fanny Bryce, without gorgeous looks, made it to the top in a time when a Ziegfeld girl was the prize trophy, let us say, for on-stage work. That's it. We do it 8 times a week. Leah does it 7 times a week, which is very smart. Julie does it once a week, every Thursday. And I finally also am having my vacation. I will not be in the show February 25th evening. I'll do the matinee. And then at 11 p.m. that night, I am catching a plane to an Arab nation that has to remain nameless until I leave it, but 2 Arab nations to work on peace in the Middle East on a diplomatic mission.
Wait, now explain to me. I'm talking to Tovah Feldshuh, who's starring in Funny Girl on Broadway, and just telling us she's off on a mission. How did that happen? I mean, you're working night and day. How did they figure out that they could add one more to what you're doing, and a big deal?
I was invited to join Rabbi Mark Schneier, who's very, very active in international peace missions, to be honest with you. I think the fact that certain Arab Emirates will now be doing Holocaust education, probably, and this is an assumption, has something to do with this extraordinary man who is the child of Arthur Schneier, who is also an internationalist peacemaker from the American Jewish community. And he's going on a diplomatic mission to 2 countries, and he invited me to be part of that. So Andy and I are meeting with other individuals for this extraordinary trip. I would never be able to go to these countries without this opportunity to meet face-to-face with the people who matter. And we figure if they feed us and we spend time with them, it will also help not just the United States, but also, of course, Israel. And try to make a ethnic understanding between the Muslims and the Jews, which always was a very successful alliance, particularly in Spain for 600 years. So we're working on it, and I'm honored to. I figured with a name like Tovah Feldshuh, instead of being a local Jew, you might as well try to be a global Jew. So there you go. And particularly at this time.
That's a deal, and at this time more than ever.
Yeah,
it's like there's a little tightrope.
No,
so
it is a tightrope, Joan.
Tovah, do they coach you, or is it like you go to diplomacy school before you go? What do they do to prepare?
You study the history of the country. You study the history of the people you're going to meet. You Wikipedia them at the kazoo, and then any material sent you. You also have to dress in a certain way. It's very, very similar to the very religious Jews. I mean, your knees, elbows have to be covered. There are certain laws. The heads have to be covered. And I want to do everything to be respectful of the borders that I will be, within the borders of a country. And we'll be meeting people of state. And like in every diplomatic mission, it's very fluid at the moment. The meetings are being set up, but things are never set in stone. There's always a plan B, and it's just very exciting. I've never done this. So very
never,
very
but you love adventure, and this is going to be a big one.
Last
time you and I talked, you had talked about you were going to try to put together a one-woman show based on Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Did
I'm
that
working on it
happen?
right now. I'm working on it right now with a fabulous writer named Jake Bernstein. He's the son of Walter Bernstein. Walter Bernstein was the one who turned my brother David's play, Miss Eversworth, into a movie of the week, which then got 12 nominations for the Emmy and won 6. So
I couldn't
Jake
believe that
I,
your brother. Didn't he win a Pulitzer or something?
He was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, how fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's still a tenured professor at Cornell, and he was the head of theater at Cornell University up in Ithaca for 25 years. So everybody's in good shape. So I am working on it with him and with a very, very good composer named Jonathan Riel. And we meet every Friday, and we're off and running. We have a great inciting incident to catapult the play into being, and we'll see how it goes. We'll get it written, then I'll try to get proper patronage and see how much farther we can go with the production. But I'm optimistic.
Well, and so many, I'm knocking on wood, good things are happening to you. It's like a whole new, you've always done incredibly well and worked, but it's like happening again in a different way, but fantastic. Can you deal with all that? That's a lot.
It's a lot to deal with 4 grandchildren and 2 wonderfully married children and a wonderful husband. We will be married 45 years.
Oh, congratulations.
March 20th, and this February 16th, which is, this coming week, we will be together 46 years. So it didn't take him long to ask me to marry, and we married. We married within 12 months of meeting each other. So it's just great. I'm very excited. Listen, your health is your wealth. I'm just trying to stay healthy. I'm doing Funny Girl 8 times a week, and I dance a lot. I dance and I tap dance in it. So it's an extreme sport. So I think it's a question of my life between the massage and the PT and making sure my knees and ankles stay strong. It's wild. My life is like an extreme sport. It's like I'm going skiing every day. But it's very exciting. And I didn't know that only 1% of our union is on Broadway. Of national equity, only 1% of the actors make it to Broadway. So I am so honored to be back there for my 10th show, my 10th Broadway show, and my 50th year on Broadway. 50th year. I want to celebrate it. I hope that somebody gives me a luncheon to celebrate the fact that I made my debut in 1972 in Cyrano with Chris Plummer at the Palace Theater.
Well, it's all beyond exciting, and it keeps growing more and more. And add to that the diplomatic work where, how many people can leave a real footprint and have a chance to change the world? And not only as an artist are you doing that, but as someone who's been involved your way in government and in international policy. So this is a very exciting time in your life. And happy anniversary to you and yours. And I take it the kids are thriving.
The kids are great. Brandon's at BlackRock. Amanda's in developmental real estate. And their spouses, Joel Rizzoe, is at JP Morgan. And Brandon's spouse, Jamie, his wife, is also at JP Morgan as the event planner. She's a brilliant event planner. She used to work for the Starwood Luxury Collection and the Marriott Luxury Collection. And then COVID hit. But she has continued to land on her feet. Everything is good, and we should talk when I come back from this mission. We'll have a lot to talk about in March. I'll be back March 7th. And,
okay, well, you'll come over because
that would be great.
I would love it. Congratulations. All the best. And we'll talk to you when you come back.
Thank you so much, John. Much love to you.
You too. Tovah Feldshuh. And you've got to see her in Funny Girl. But, think about it. She really has a chance to change the world and is going out and doing it. We'll talk to her again. I'm Joan Hamburg, and you're listening to WABC.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked number 1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and number 2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve. It's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.